Number 11, challenge bad behavior. This is one of my favorites because invariably in every company that I've worked for, when a general manager who's responsible for a P&L gets in trouble, the first response when the CEO puts pressure on them is that they say things like, gee, I don't have the tools I need. IT doesn't give me what I need. I don't have the information I need, and they whine about it. Another bitch moaning and whining opportunity. They won't work on my priorities, and on it goes. And what happens is the CEO looks at the CIO. And all of a sudden, the whole room's eyes come to the CIO. And what I like to do is say, well, okay, that's great. Hey, why haven't you, general manager, made that investment recommendation in the past? And how would these tools change their business outcomes? And frankly, if they're such great ideas and they'll help drive value for your business, would you be willing to put investment dollars up to help fund those investments? And I'll tell you what happens is it puts the responsibility right back in the general manager's lap. Not that you want to put them on their heels, but really at the end of the day, it's their responsibility to make sure they have the tools they needed to run their business. And so don't let people get away with that I don't have the tools comment, because it's too easy to make. Help your C-suite dig a little deeper and understand what is it about those tools that you need and why haven't you made the case, and are you willing to put up money from your business unit to fund them? Usually when that happens, the noise level goes down and the focus comes right back to the general manager. Another favorite of mine is combating oversimplification. This is what I call I know a guy, the I know a guy syndrome. When you're building websites, it's invariably true that somebody on the executive team will be at a neighborhood party and they'll meet somebody who says, boy, I can build your website over the weekend for $5,000 instead of the $1 million we're spending. And of course, the C-suite, this is a real story, comes back to the office the next day, the next work day, and says, wow, what about this? How come ours is so expensive? This is a very common problem. And it may not be websites, it could be some other solution in your organization. So what I like to do is sort of take them through the elements of what makes our business different than a small business. Because frankly, you could build a website over the weekend for less than $5,000 and be transactional with all the tools that are out there. But if you're a small business and you're shipping one product at a time, your warehouse is your garage. You're calling FedEx, you're packaging it yourself. You don't have channel conflict to worry about if you don't have competitors and retailers that you're distributing to. Your business processes can be manual. When you're building for scale, like a multi-billion-dollar business, you can't rely on those manual processes. And once you show the C-suite executives why you're building all that infrastructure, you're building for scale, it helps to tamp down that oversimplification, I know a guy syndrome that we talked about. In fact, a real story here, one of the executives that I worked with on this very same example had the light bulb go on, and actually they used this slide with our board of directors to explain it themselves, which I thought was a great success story. So that's challenging that oversimplification mindset that happens all too frequently in organizations. 13, this is sort of a sleeper example, but I'd suggest that as new executives come on and you're bridging the chasm and you're making progress, as soon as somebody new comes onto the organization, especially if they come from a company that has outsourced all of IT in the past, they're the ones you got to focus on. And so now what we do is we onboard them. When they first get there, we give them a week or so to find the restrooms, and then we have our business partners meet with them to talk about the power of convergence. We talk about the strategic role of IT business partner. We talk about IT as a peer group and why we want to have a seat at the table. We talk about getting immersed in our customers' environments. And we also talk about the definition of transparency. So don't throw things over the wall. Don't try to use your influence to get things done. Work with us and use those project investment scoring tools that we talked about. Once you do this, it'll create a better foundation. It'll help them understand that this IT organization's a little different than most that we run into. And so I learned this one the hard way. We had hired some folks from a big box retailer locally here. And quite honestly, this was an organization that had outsourced all of IT. And so they were not thinking about using IT in this new way. And in the age of the customer and the mobile mind shift dilemma that we all have, it's critically important that IT be at the strategy table every day. So 14, this is simple, but I'd suggest that you change your name from IT to business technology. I know it seems sort of too easy, but I'll tell you what it's done at Red Wing is it's changed the dialogue. People actually say BT now and business technology. I get a little teasing there because people know that I'm passionate about it, but nonetheless, they're coming around to the idea that IT is no longer just this utility, necessary evil, technology layer organization. They're actually helping us operationally and with external customers. So it subtly changes their mindset around the organization. So that's something you can do for free tomorrow.